Welcome back to the channel. USA Coin 69, another exciting journey where we uncover the shocking secrets hiding inside everyday pocket change. Today we're diving deep into a tiny coin you've probably seen 1,000 times before, a coin so common that most people never give it a second glance. The 1985 Roosevelt one dime. Yes, that small 10-cent piece many of us toss into jars or slip into vending machines could actually be worth a jaw-dropping fortune if you happen to have the right one. So sit back, grab your magnifying glass, and let's explore how this unassuming little dime could be your ticket to a massive payday. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946 as a tribute to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a leader who not only guided America through the Great Depression and World War II, but also played a major role in helping eliminate polio through the March of Dimes campaign. Ever since, his strong profile has remained a beloved part of American pocket change. On the obverse, his image face is left with the word liberty boldly stamped beside him, a reminder of freedom and resilience. On the reverse stand the classic trio, a blazing torch symbolizing liberty, an olive branch of peace, and an oak branch of strength, together capturing the heart of the American spirit. By 1985, the Roosevelt dime had already become a staple of day-to-day life. But within that year's production lies a small handful of coins unlike any others. What makes a 1985 Roosevelt dime so valuable? It all starts with the mint mark, the tiny letter just above a year on the front of the coin. P means the coin was minted in Philadelphia. D shows it came from Denver. And an S means it's from San Francisco, where special proof coins were made with razor-sharp details and mirror-like fields. While Denver and Philadelphia produced countless dimes for circulation, San Francisco issued polished proof coins meant only for collectors, often sealed in protective cases. Occasionally, one of these proof coins might escape into circulation unnoticed, and if it survives untouched, that tiny distinction can make it worth a small fortune. But mint marks are only the beginning. Collectors go absolutely wild for coins with minting errors, rare mistakes that happen during the striking process back at the mint. A few 1985 Roosevelt dimes are known to have double die errors, where parts of the lettering, date, or even Roosevelt's profile appear doubled under magnification. Some were struck off-center, creating a crescent of blank space where design should be. Others were struck on the wrong planchet, the metal blank used to make coins, such as a blank meant for a foreign coin or another denomination, leaving the dime slightly lighter, thicker, or even a different color than normal. These error coins are incredibly scarce and unique, meaning each one is one of a kind, and serious collectors will pay enormous sums of money to own them, especially in pristine condition. So, how can you tell if your 1985 dime is special? Start by examining it closely in bright light. A dime worth big money should be in mint state condition, showing no scratches, wear, or dullness from circulation. It should shine with frosty luster, just like it did when it first left the mint. Look at Roosevelt's hair. The more detail you can see in his curls, the better the coin's grade. His cheek and jawline should be smooth and untouched, not flattened from wear. Then, examine the reverse. Every line of the torch, every tiny leaf on the olive and oak branches should be crisp and bold. After that, check the edges. The tiny ridges around the rim should be sharp, not worn down. Then move on to the most exciting part, searching for errors. Use a jeweler's loupe to look for any double letters or numbers, odd alignment of the designs, unusual cuts on the rim, or anything that looks out of the ordinary. Finally, weigh your coin with a precise scale and check its diameter against a standard reference. If anything doesn't match exactly, you might have stumbled upon a rare wrong planchet strike. Across America, enthusiasts spend hours searching coin rolls from banks, inspecting jar after jar of saved change, and hunting through inherited coin collections just to find that one magical dime. People have found incredibly valuable coins in the most unexpected places, between couch cushion inside old purses, hidden in coin counter machines, and even handed back in change at drive-through restaurants. That's what makes coin collecting so electrifying. You don't need to be a millionaire to discover treasure. Sometimes it's already in your pocket, waiting for you to look just a little more closely. So before you casually spend that 1985 Roosevelt dime in your hand, stop and inspect it carefully. You might be holding a simple coin, Or you might be holding a wildly valuable piece of United States minting history.
Today we're diving into a tiny piece of change that most people overlook every single day without realizing it could be hiding a secret fortune. I'm talking about the Roosevelt 1 dime from the year 2000. Yes, that small 10-cent coin you've probably tossed into a tip jar or left rattling in your car's cup holder might actually be worth a small fortune, if it happens to be one of the rare and valuable versions. So grab your magnifier, turn the lights up bright, and get ready, because the mysteries of the 2000 Roosevelt dime might just surprise you. The Roosevelt dime has a powerful legacy that goes far beyond its small size. First issued in 1946, it was created to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a man who not only led America through some of its darkest times, but who also fought tirelessly to eradicate polio through the March of Dimes. On the front of every dime you'll see his bold profile stamped proudly with the word liberty, representing the spirit of strength and freedom he inspired. On the reverse stands the classic torch of liberty, flanked by the oak branch of strength and olive branch of peace, combining to remind us that even the smallest coin in American pockets holds a deep message of resilience and hope. By the year 2000, these dimes had become so common that most people never imagined any of them could be rare or valuable, but hidden among the everyday coins from that year are a handful of surprises that collectors are desperate to find. That it all begins with the mint mark, a tiny letter that holds big meaning. Look just above the date on your 2000 Roosevelt dime. If there's a P, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. A D means it came from Denver. But an S tells you it was made in San Francisco as a proof coin, a beautifully detailed version with frosted images and mirror-like fields meant especially for collectors. These proof coins were not supposed to be put into everyday circulation, but occasionally one slips out unexpectedly. If that happens, and if the coin somehow stays in flawless condition, it can become extremely valuable. However, the real hunt begins when we start searching for mint errors and unbelievable high-grade examples, because that's where the truly rare treasures are found. Some of the most valuable 2000 Roosevelt dimes have dramatic minting errors. These include double die strikes, where parts of the lettering or numbers appear doubled under magnification, off-center strikes, where the whole design is shifted and part of the coin looks blank, and clipped planchet errors, where a small crescent shape is missing from the rim. Even rarer are wrong planchet strikes, cases where the dime was accidentally made on a blank intended for a foreign coin or another denomination, giving it odd metal color, weight, or thickness. These mistakes are incredibly uncommon and each one is completely unique, which is exactly why collectors go wild for them. The second most important factor is condition. A coin kept untouched, never circulated, and still shining with its original mint luster will always be worth far more than one that shows the scratches and dullness of everyday use. So how do you know if your 2000 Roosevelt dime is one of these rare and valuable gems? First, hold it under strong, direct light. Look at the brightness and ask yourself, does it shine like a brand new coin? Check Roosevelt's hair and the sharpness of his facial details. You should see crisp texture and no sign of wear. His jawline and cheekbone should look bold and untouched. Turn the coin over and inspect the torch. Are the tiny leaves on the branches clearly sculpted? Are the flame tips sharp and striking? If yes, your dime may be in mint state condition, a huge first step. Next, check the edges. A valuable dime will still show full, sharp reading around the rim rather than smooth worn-down bumps. After you've confirmed it looks flawless, take a jeweler's loupe or magnifier and search for unusual features, doubled letters, weird misalignments, funny curves at the rim, or anything that looks different from a normal coin. Finally, weigh it with a precise scale. A wrong planchet error could show up weighing too light or too heavy. Believe it or not, people have found rare 2000 Roosevelt dimes in the most unexpected places, jammed in the cracks of furniture, forgotten in childhood piggy banks, buried at the bottom of old toolboxes, or sitting in giant jars of change saved for years. That's the beauty and magic of coin collecting. You never know where a treasure might show up, and anyone, anywhere, can uncover a coin worth far more than face value if they just take the time to look closely enough. So next time you see a dime dated 2000, don't toss it aside so quickly. It could be your lucky day. Today we're about to uncover the jaw-dropping story behind a tiny coin many people take for granted, yet it might secretly carry a value that can change your life forever. We're talking about the Roosevelt 1 dime from the year 1987, a coin that millions of Americans have spent without a second thought at grocery stores, parking meters, and coffee shops. But what if I told you that some rare versions of this modest 10-cent piece are worth far more than you could ever imagine? So grab your magnifying glass, turn on your brightest lamp, and prepare yourself, the incredible secrets of the 1987 Roosevelt dime could turn your pocket change into pure gold. Let's start by stepping back in time to understand how this dime became an American classic. Introduced in 1946, the Roosevelt dime was created to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a beloved leader who steered the United States through the Great Depression and World War II, and who was instrumental in the fight against polio through the March of Dimes campaign. On the obverse of every dime you'll find Roosevelt's profile boldly facing left, a powerful symbol not only of leadership but also of resilience. Flip the coin over and you'll find the timeless design of a flaming torch of liberty flanked by an olive branch symbolizing peace and an oak branch symbolizing strength. By 1987, this dime had become a familiar part of the American economy, but tucked away within that year's mintage are rare coins with special characteristics that make them worth an absolute fortune. The story of value begins with something incredibly small, the mint mark. Look carefully at the tiny letter stamped above the year 1987 on the front of the coin. A P stands for Philadelphia, a D for Denver, and an S means it came from San Francisco. While the Philadelphia and Denver versions were minted primarily for circulation, San Francisco produced special proof coins designed specifically for collectors. These proofs were struck with polished dies and beautiful mirror-like fields, giving them razor-sharp detail, and if one escaped into general circulation and remains in flawless condition, it becomes a major prize for collectors. But the most thrilling discoveries come from coins struck with dramatic minting errors, true accidents that transformed everyday coins into extraordinary collectibles. A few 1987 Roosevelt dimes are known for rare minting mistakes such as the double die, where letters or numbers like Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, or even Roosevelt's profile appear faintly doubled when you look through a magnifier. Other dimes were mistakenly struck off-center, creating a strange and unique crescent-shaped blank spot on the edge of the coin. Then there are the most sensational, rare wrong planchet errors, where a dime was accidentally struck on a blank meant for a foreign coin or even another denomination, leaving it with unusual weight, thickness, or metal coloration. These error coins are incredibly scarce and every single one is unique, meaning that collectors are willing to pay astonishing amounts for them, especially if they still shine with their original mint luster. So how do you know if you might be sitting on one of these priceless 1987 dimes? The search begins with condition. A truly valuable coin will often be in mint state condition, meaning it shows no signs of wear from circulation. Hold the coin under a bright light. Does it sparkle with that fresh from the mint shine? Examine Roosevelt's cheekbone, jawline, and the tiny curls in his hair. Are they sharp, defined, and free of scratches? Turn the coin over and inspect the torch. Look for crisp flame tips and distinct veins on the leaves of the olive and oak branches. Then move your attention to the rim. A valuable dime should still have strong, sharp reading rather than a worn-down, smooth edge. Once the coin passes all those tests, it's time to use a jeweler's loupe to inspect for doubling on the letters and numbers, clipped edges, misaligned stamping, or any strange irregularities that could point to a valuable mint error. If possible, weigh the coin and measure its thickness to check whether it was possibly struck on the wrong planchet. Stories continue to emerge from lucky collectors and ordinary people who discovered staggering finds by doing exactly this, carefully inspecting the coins hidden in family piggy banks, cash register drawers, inherited coin jars, or bank coin rolls picked up for just a few dollars. That's part of what makes coin collecting so utterly magical, the idea that something as small as a dime could secretly be a tiny treasure chest just waiting for the right person to uncover it. And remember, many of the biggest finds happened long after the coins were believed to be out of circulation, proving that rare valuables can still be hiding among the change we carry every single day. Today we're unlocking the secrets behind a tiny coin that most people don't give a second thought, yet it might be worth more than some people earn in an entire year. We're talking about the Roosevelt 1 dime from the year 1991, a simple 10-cent coin that millions of Americans have spent without realizing they might have been handing over a hidden fortune. So put on your detective's hat, sharpen your eyes, grab your magnifying glass, and join me as we reveal the shocking story behind the 1991 Roosevelt dime and how you could be holding a coin worth a small fortune without even knowing it. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, not only a towering leader during one of America's toughest eras, but also a champion in the battle against polio through the March of Dimes. That's why his proud profile stands boldly on the front of every dime, symbolizing courage, determination, and national pride. Turn over this modest 10-cent coin and you'll see the beautiful symbols that make it truly American, a flaming torch representing liberty, flanked by the olive branch of peace and the oak branch of strength. By the year 1991, the Roosevelt dime had become one of the most circulated coins in the United States, showing up in millions of pockets, purses, vending machines, and piggy banks. But hidden among these everyday coins were astonishing rarities that collectors would fight tooth and nail to possess. It all starts with something small yet incredibly important: the mint mark. If your 1991 dime has a P on it, it came from the Philadelphia Mint. A D means it was struck in Denver. And an S means it's from the San Francisco Mint, where special proof coins were created with mirror-like fields and frosty devices strictly for collectors. These proof coins were made in far smaller quantities and were never meant to circulate. But every once in a while, one slips out into everyday use without anyone noticing, and if you happen to find one in flawless condition, you are already looking at something truly exciting. However, the most valuable 1991 dimes are the ones with rare mint errors and incredible preservation, the kind that transform a regular-looking coin into a sensational numismatic treasure. Some of the rarest 1991 Roosevelt dimes were struck with mistakes that happened during the minting process. These include double die errors, where parts of the lettering or Roosevelt's profile appear slightly doubled under a magnifying glass. There are also off-center strikes, where the design is shifted leaving part of the coin oddly blank. Even more extraordinary are wrong planchet errors, where the dime was accidentally struck on a blank meant for a foreign coin or even another American denomination, resulting in strange size, weight, or appearance. These flaws are wildly rare, and each one is unique, making them legendary among collectors who are willing to pay unbelievable prices for them, but only if the coin has survived in pristine condition. So how do you find out if your 1991 dime is one of these high-value treasures? Step 1 is condition. Hold your dime under a bright light and look for brilliant shine. A valuable coin should still show its original mint luster, meaning it hasn't been worn down by circulation. Roosevelt's hair should show crisp curls instead of flat mushy surfaces. His cheek and jawline should have sharp detail with no smoothing or rubbing. Flip the coin and examine the torch, olive leaves, and oak leaves. Are the lines beautiful, strong, and unbroken? That's a good sign. Then check the rim. A top-end coin will still have fully defined reading rather than a smooth or flattened edge. Once the coin passes the eye test for condition, use a jeweler's loupe to look for errors, doubled lettering, strangely thick or thin areas, missing spots on the rim, or misalignment of images. Finally, weigh your coin on a precision scale. If it's heavier or lighter than it should be, you may have discovered a shocking wrong planchet strike. Across America, people are still finding incredibly valuable dimes in jars of old change, rolls from the bank, collections passed down from family members, and even coins handed over as casual change in everyday transactions. That's the excitement of coin collecting. Anyone can discover a life-changing treasure, as long as they know what to look for. And the 1991 Roosevelt dime continues to surprise collectors with rare finds every single year. That's exactly why you should never ignore a coin just because it's small or common, because sometimes, the greatest value is hidden in plain sight. Today we're uncovering a jaw-dropping story hidden in one of the smallest coins in your pocket. You might think a dime isn't worth a second glance, but after today, you'll be checking every single one carefully. That's because we're talking about the Roosevelt $1 dime from 1967, a coin so ordinary-looking that most people spend it without hesitation, not realizing that a rare version could be worth a fortune that would make your heart skip a beat. Grab your magnifying glass, turn your lights up bright, and get ready, because the secrets of the 1967 Roosevelt dime might just change the way you see pocket change forever. To understand the mystery behind this coin, let's take a quick step back in time. The Roosevelt dime was introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the man who led America through the Great Depression and World War II, and whose March of Dimes campaign helped conquer the terrible disease of polio. His profile remains a symbol of courage and determination stamped onto the front of every dime, with the proud words, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." On the reverse shines the familiar image of a flaming torch, an olive branch of peace, and an oak branch of strength, a powerful trio of symbols representing American spirit. By the time we reached 1967, the Roosevelt dime had become a fundamental part of daily life in the United States. Yet even in a year so long ago, a few extraordinary examples escaped into the world with unbelievable value hiding behind their familiar design. One thing that sets the 1967 Roosevelt dime apart immediately is that this was a year when the U.S. Mint stopped using mint marks on dimes entirely to discourage coin hoarding during America's coin shortage. That means this dime won't have a P, D, or S above the date, a fact that already catches the eye of collectors because it makes every 1967 dime a bit unusual. But that also means collectors place immense focus on two other powerful factors, condition and error type, because that's where true rarity hides. That brings us to the thrilling world of mint errors, the mysterious misprints and accidents that happen during the manufacturing process at the mint. These mistakes might include double dies, where the lettering, date, or even parts of Roosevelt's profile appear slightly doubled under magnification. Then there are off-center strikes, where the design is pushed so far to one side that part of the coin is strangely blank. Even more dramatic are wrong planchet errors, shocking situations where a dime was accidentally struck on a metal blank meant for another coin, like a penny or a foreign denomination. These error coins are unbelievably rare, and because no two mistakes are exactly the same, collectors treat them like one-of-a-kind masterpieces. If one of these mistakes also happens to be found in pristine, untarnished condition, its value can skyrocket beyond belief. So how do you figure out if your 1967 dime is special enough to be incredibly valuable? First, look at the condition of the coin. Under strong lighting, a rare coin will shine with brilliant original mint luster, rather than the dull gray tone of a circulated coin. Roosevelt's cheek and jawline should look untouched and smooth, not flat or rubbed. The tiny curls of his hair should have sharp definition instead of appearing worn down. Flip the coin over, look at the torch's flame and the leaves from the olive and oak branches. You want crisp edges, sharp tips, and no flattening or smoothing. Then study the coin's edge. A valuable specimen will have full, bold reading, the little ridges on the rim, not the rounded, worn look you see on coins that have been circulating for decades. Next, grab a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe and start hunting for errors. Check for letters or numbers that look doubled, especially in the word Liberty or the date, 1967. Examine the alignment. Is everything centered properly, or does one part of the design look oddly shifted? Take note of any strangely cut edge or missing chunk. This could be a clipped planchet error. If you have a jewelry scale, weigh the coin, because a wrong planchet dime might be heavier or lighter than a standard one, instantly letting you know you might have an incredible rarity in your hands. Every tiny difference can make a massive change in value, so look with attention and care. People just like you have uncovered unbelievable treasures in the most unexpected places, inside dusty jars of change kept in closets for decades, forgotten in an old purse inherited from a family member, or even handed out as pocket change by accident at small-town stores. That's what makes coin collecting exciting, the idea that a mind-blowing fortune could be hiding in plain sight. The 1967 Roosevelt dime proves that even the tiniest coin can be packed with history, mystery, and potentially life-changing value. So before you spend that dime from 1967, stop and give it a careful inspection, because if you are lucky enough to stumble upon a mint-state example or a rare mint error version of the 1967 Roosevelt 1 dime, then the value of that small coin could reach an unbelievable $73,000.